Speakers for a very interesting session. And next, we'll have Mr. Yon Phokasub, President of Central Group, Mr. Alex Ng, Executive Director, Kerry Express Thailand, and Mr. James Z. Dong, CEO of Lazada Thailand. And this session will be moderated by Dr. Kirida Bhaopichitr, Research Director for International Research and Advisory Service, Thailand Development Research Institution, or TDRI. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome all the speakers on the stage.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We just heard a very interesting session, but this session, I can assure you, for the next 60 minutes will be as interesting and maybe a bit exciting as well, because we're going to be talking about the retail sector in Thailand. And we have here Kun Yon from the Central Group, who is the incumbent. We have Mr. James from Lazada, who is the disruptor. And we have Alex from Kerry, who benefits from whatever happens in the retail industry. So it's going to be an interesting session where I'm sure all of you would like to hear what is the future, of this sector, what's the ecosystem going to be like, given that there's so many disruptions and technologies that are coming into this sector. So for the first round, what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask each of them to tell us, their views, their vision of the future, maybe the next 3 to 5 years, of this retail industry or the logistics industry that they're in. And then we can, do a second round where I'll ask each of them, given that, this is the future that they see, how will they, adapt, how will they compete, what are their plans, and then we'll open up for Q&A. So be prepared, have questions, and I will ask you if you have any questions towards the end of this session. So maybe I'll begin with you, Kun Yon, as the incumbent. Well, what is your view of the future of this industry in Thailand?
If you look ahead, I think it's quite difficult to predict nowadays. Things changing so fast. Right? What I can see about a few things that in the next 3-4 years, I think it's quite clear. Right? And the first one, I think we all disrupted already, right? And we must accept that. And the key disruptor itself is not me, it's not you, it's not him. Okay? It's actually the customer themselves. Right? The customer themselves actually the disruptor. Because being disrupted and being spoiled, okay, or being whatever through all the technology change. Okay, this is number one. Right? Second, as we all know, is this 2DD. It's not a DD of Thai Airlines. It's either digital or dead. Right? Okay, this is we must do. The third one, I still believe that okay, the offline is not dead. Right? But it will be dead if we don't change. Right? Okay, so this is the three things. The fourth thing is about winner takes all in this world of the combine between online and offline. I don't think it's going to exist. Right? So sometimes, somewhere, sometimes we have to compete, sometimes we have to collaborate. Right? Okay, and then you can see that when this industry changing, we get used to all this traditional trade, okay, in Thailand, and we move to modern trade, right? And you can see modern trade eating some share of the traditional trade, right? Now you can see that there are three, at least, disruptors coming in. The first one is value chain disruptor. For example, like fast fashion business, right? They come and disrupt it. The second one is like a technology disruptor, such as himself, right? Okay. The third one is about innovation disruptor, right? You can see that, okay, this O2O, okay, like Grab, like Uber, or Lineman, this and that, somewhere, somehow, they are quite innovative, right? So this is the three disruptors I can see in the market.
I see. So in the future, you still see the synergies between online and offline, and that the players will still pretty much be those as today, or do you see more competition from overseas, or would there be new industries that come about?
I think online and offline together, I think if you look at the human being, in terms of the human experience, okay, it's still, the core of it is about social, right? You cannot be social on virtual all the time, right? You still need a physical space, okay, to meet, right? As Central Group, our strategy never changed. Okay, we want to be the central of the customer life. Right? So wherever we go, okay, in Thailand or in other country, a small city or big city, we want to build the central economy. Right? Okay, it means that, and also looking for the location to be the central. Right? So that okay, this is the place that okay, in terms of socialize physically, they should come. Right? But you can see that in Thailand or in this part of the world, we have been changing so fast, right? Try to revolutionize ourselves too, right? So we don't just wait for them to attack, right? This is one. Now, you look at the newcomer from outside Thailand. I think I put this way. I think we are lucky that okay, we can see, let's say, the big player in US or in the China, right? So we can see that all these players teach us a lot, right? Okay, so we have to see, okay, if we are so advanced like them, right? You can see that okay, we may have a big impact on this technical implication, right? But now you can see that if we use technology well, okay, it can turn to be a very positive one, right? So that's why I think from the positive side, right? And then I'm always welcome the competitor to come in, because it's good for industry, right? Everyone can learn, get the new talent, learn new technology, and so on. Second, the customer also get better, right? Third, all the key players cannot stay put, right? So it will be the benefit of everyone. Right?
I see. So James, do you agree? Do you agree? What is Lazada's plan, or, well, maybe that will be the second round. In the first round, what would be your vision for the retail industry, either in Thailand or if you want to expand out of Thailand?
Sure. Before I share my view, maybe just a quick introduction about my background so that you guys know a little bit better a lot of my view, where it comes from. I actually arrived in Bangkok just a few weeks ago. Before that, I worked for Alibaba headquarters in Hangzhou, report to our group CEO, and I was responsible for global strategy and corporate development, right? So including a lot of deals like Lazada, Daraz, Paytm Mall, Trenjoy, and also our collaboration, our Alibaba top 20 account collaboration. For example, some of you might heard Alibaba work with Starbucks, right? We're able to deliver their coffee from so many, like 3,000 stores in China, and then deliver from our own Hema grocery chain, deliver Starbucks coffee, right? So this type of online and offline collaboration. So having said that, you know, given this background, now I'm in Thailand, and hopefully, you know, since now Lazada is 100% owned by Alibaba, right? So we hope that we can bring a lot of technology, business approach to this country, right? By working with government, with different business, SMEs, to serve our consumer better. So this is the context. So if you ask me about what I think about the future, I think probably three views that I want to share. The first is consumer requirements, right? So actually, very much agree with what you just mentioned, right? So a lot of it should be coming from consumer. Thailand actually is a very unique country in a way where consumers are super digital savvy. We have 67 million population, and then if you look at monthly active user of Facebook, Line, YouTube, so on and so forth, they're all like 40 million. That percentage is probably the highest in the world. And then if you look at the number of hours each consumer spends on their mobile phone every day, right? 10 years ago when a few years ago when I was in Bangkok, right? If you're on the street or if you're on BTS, you watch people what they do, right? And now if you're on BTS, 99% of people are looking at their smartphone, right? For 1 hour, 2 hours every day. And then during work, I also observed my own employees, right? So they put a smartphone on the desk. Sometimes they work, get on phone, and then check their mobile phone from time to time. That's why some statistics show that Thai consumers spend by average 10 hours on smartphone every day, right? So this is a customer behavior, and their requirements actually drive the online players like us to think about how to serve them well, but also for traditional offline players to think about to serve them in a more digitalized way, right? So this is a pure consumer driven. At the end, I guess it's going to be a hybrid model to serve them really well, right? So now it comes to the second point that I want to share with you. which is what Alibaba has been driving in China for the past few years. We call it new retail, and in US or in Europe, different players call it different names. Some call it omni-channel, some call it hybrid model, right? So I guess as investors, you probably very much aware of like what Alibaba did, what Amazon did in the past, right? So for example, Amazon a couple of months back invested in Whole Foods, and it was a huge news in Wall Street. And then at that time, Alibaba's stock price went up quite a bit because they started realizing, okay, Alibaba started doing this 3 years ago by ourselves, right? Because 3 years ago, it was the time that Alibaba Group started thinking, we're a company, our vision was to make it easy to do business everywhere, right, in the world. We never had an intention to, say, dominate an industry or anything, right, to compete with anyone. At that time, we think, like, how to serve the entire retail industry better. So we reposition ourselves as a technology and data company, providing solutions to retailers and brands, digital solutions, end-to-end digital solutions to serve consumer better, right? So 3 years ago, one of the first vertical that we entered into was hypermarket. So we launched a online-offline new retail experience, hypermarket called Hema in China, right? So it was 3 years ago. So now, if I look back in the past 2-3 years, we actually, in total, we launched online-offline collaboration in 8 different verticals. So shopping mall, 3C, furniture, and also food and beverage, so on and so forth, right? So in 8 different industries. So we provide our technology and work with retailers and brands, so on and so forth, provide this omni-channel experience to consumers in China. And then one of my mission to here is, because Thailand is actually the most important market for us overseas. If you look at the number of employees that we have, the different business that we have in here, not only e-commerce, but also travel, payments, cloud. And we work with governments a lot, the economic corridor, right? And then we also work with governments a lot to bring a lot of SMEs become more digital savvy and then being able to perform online. And we also work with local and international brands on our platform. So, my assignment is really to bring the whole ecosystem play and the new retail eventually to Thailand, right? So the very last thing is about open collaboration, I would say, right? The moderator actually, the first question she asked me is, was, as a disruptor, what do you think, right? Your future, your strategy, so on and so forth. But actually, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we got these questions a lot in China, and even 10 years ago, we even thought ourselves was a disruptor. But actually, we were not competing with a lot of offline retailer business, right? So we're disruptive in the way that we provide a technology solution to retailers and brands, and also solutions to consumers so that they can have a better digital experience. In that sense, we're a disruptor. But I think, offline in many years to come will still be there, and potentially it can even thrive, right? Let's say we provide a technology solution to some of the offline retailers. Actually, revenue per square meter got increased because of the online traffic introduced into offline, a lot of interactive process and offering that consumers are able to enjoy, right? So yeah, I think open collaboration is the last point that I want to emphasize.
So you agree that there could be synergy between the online and offline, but of course offline would eventually have to also change their business model to adapt more to the new online business as well. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say like to change business model, because at the end, the offering, the fundamental things about running a business would be still very similar. It's just that the offering that you have to your consumer, you probably add a little bit more digital elements into it, and then we're willing to help.
I see. But before going to you, Alex, just one more question for James. I was very interested when he said, Alibaba or Lazada thinks Thailand is one of the most important market, probably in Southeast Asia. Why is that? Is it just because of the market size, or is there anything more?
No, actually, a lot of different reasons. One is consumers are super ready, right? The numbers that I shared, 67 million population and 40 million active users for a few apps. We've never seen that high percentage anywhere in the world.
So high growth.
Yeah, and then the second is that actually we will have a very good ecosystem playing here. Got lots of support. For example, actually government and us, we support each other, right? We support Thailand government on the EEC, and then we work with the government on this SME digital onboarding, and then we also help those brands, Thai brands, to sell to China. And then also in some other areas, for example, I mentioned travel business. If you look at the number of Chinese tourists coming to Thailand every year, it's more than 10 million, right? So it's a huge number. So our travel business also did pretty well in this country. So which means in the entire ecosystem, we already have quite a few business and a lot of people. We have more than 1,000 employees in this country. And then, so many sellers, service providers, big and small, right? And Kerry being our strongest partner in the past. We have like the whole supporting matrix here. Therefore, we feel like we want to build Thailand as a role model within Alibaba, within the countries that Alibaba operate in, and then hopefully a lot of the experience will be shared to the other foreign countries that Alibaba do business in.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Maybe in the second round, I'll come back and ask you, if you view Thailand as a hub or, for the other Southeast Asian countries, but that will be in the second round. To you, Alex from Kerry. So now that you've heard, both of, the big players mention that you're their big partner and that there's a lot of potential growth here. So how do you actually see the market and see, the logistics business going forward?
Thank you very much for the question. And thank you very much for the compliment of my two very valuable partners. Overall speaking about the logistics industry, I will focus more on parcel services and e-commerce related logistics because logistics itself is a very wide industry. I just focus on this vertical. Overall speaking, this industry can only grow faster in the next 5 to 10 years. Let me share some of our history with everybody over here. Kerry Express has been in the market, has been in Thailand for 12 years. We were founded in 2006. We used our first 7 years to build from 50 parcels a day to 20,000 parcels a day. So in 2013, we were delivering 20,000 parcels a day only. But in the past 5 years, we have grown ourselves from 20,000 parcels a day to last Monday, we deliver 1 million parcels in one day. So we have grown 50, 60 times in the past 5 years. And we are still growing double digit every single month. So this industry can only grow. So my forecast of the development of this industry will be that we will go deeper and deeper into Thailand's provinces, communities, and society in the next 5 to 10 years. It will be extremely foolish if we go wider before we go deeper. So this company, or even our fellow competitors in Express, should focus in making ourselves more extensive in Thailand and our services better. But alongside with our development, we are also growing carefully wider, adding in new services, patching to our core platforms. For example, payment. Kerry launched our first cash-on-delivery services, very traditional, low-tech services, but much demanded by the society. Today, we are the country's biggest cash collector, which we are collecting 4-5 billion Thai baht from households every month. And before it is getting mature or before it is replaced by other payment platform, we introduced the country's first QR payment on deliveries. And today, we have become Rapid Line Pay's biggest merchant because of these options to customers.
Right.
So people mention about instant delivery by, for example, Lala Move, Line Man. They might be our focus in the future, but at this moment of time, logistics or couriers shall focus on making ourselves better and going deeper into the market. 5 years ago, when I joined Kerry Express, no one knew Kerry. No one had ever heard of Kerry.
Right.
But nowadays, when you go on the street of Thailand, and particularly Bangkok and the north of Thailand, you can see our orange trucks everywhere, and you will see us more and more. And we are also going towards, as an offline delivery company, going online. So we collaborated with Lazada, we collaborate with Central, JD, and all these people, and even with Facebook, Instagram, in providing people with one-click service booking, so we can click on our app and get our services. At the same time, 2 months ago, we announced our partnership with BTS Group. And BTS Group today becomes a 23% shareholder of Kerry Express. And in the next few months, you will see we're launching very unique and exclusive BTS delivery services along BTS lines, serving all these communities and commercial buildings along BTS. So our business keeps growing wider, but our first priority is to go deeper and make ourselves bigger, because logistics and particularly express parcel deliveries industry is a winner-takes-all market. The bigger you are, the wider you are, your cost of serving is lower, and you're closer to the customers, and your service level will be better. So we will focus on that. One more thing about my prediction in the future is the paradigm shift, not only by customers or by our people in the industry, but by youngsters. May I ask everybody over here, please raise your hand, if you want your kids to be in logistics industry. No one will raise their hands, because logistics used to be a very boring industry, but the paradigm is changing. Today, we have a very good young talent program that the top-notch graduates or young talents are very willing to join this industry. Our age in Kerry Express today is 28-year-old.
Thailand or
among our 15,000 employees, our average age is 28-year-old. And we are getting graduates and youngsters from all top-notch firms and universities. So even take reference from China. Today, you know, people in Shanghai, they said that the top firms in Shanghai, they couldn't get the top graduates, because those top graduates, they're more willing to go to Hangzhou, they're more willing to go to Shenzhen to work for e-commerce or even for logistics companies. So the paradigm is changing.
I see. Very interesting. So what do these youngsters do in Korea? I'm sure they're not driving trucks, but what do they do? Why is it so attractive for them?
Our youngsters, when they first join the first year, they are required to drive trucks, to drive forklift, to do sort center, to go into warehouses and distribution centers, standing behind counters in our shops to serve customers. They need to do all this. But our young talents in our company, they are giving a lot of opportunity to run projects. In the first few years in my companies, in our companies, they are required to do projects to show the credentials. I mentioned about line pay on delivery, a very interesting project. It was lobbied, it was introduced by one of our young talents who joined us for only 2 years. And today, he is managing 2 billion baht per month of transactions. Thank you very much.
Oh, I see. Well, that's very attractive for young people to be able to manage projects on their own. So maybe I'll come back to you in the second round to ask more about what Kerry's plans are, for here and also for maybe for the region. But to come back down to our second round, I want to ask Kun Yon to tell us a bit more on, given that you're seeing this vision for the retail industry in Thailand, how is Central positioning itself? I know a lot of people must be interested in your partnership with JD.com. So how are you actually seeing that going forward, and with your, synergy that you mentioned between online and offline? So how is Central going to sort of stay relevant in this market? Maybe not only relevant, but big in the market.
I think it's a very good question. I think in terms of our strategy, as I said, nothing changed, okay? We remain the same, that we want to be the central of the customer life, right? In order to win the customer heart, okay, we focus on the experience, right? Okay, and in this experience, we have to keep enhancing, improving, and diversify, right? And then at the same time, okay, the way we deliver this will be different, right? It's just come down to the technology, okay? So in that case, in a way, we have to defend our turf, right? And also that we have to attack the market too, right? So in that case, we adopt, let's say, two track of transformation, right? Okay, how to optimize our business model that we have today, okay, in order to survive and grow, right? Okay, so this is the thing that we have done a lot by, for example, that every business unit, we must go online, right? Okay, and then we must create this omni-channel experience across all business units, right? And then we got to cut across by the data platform, right? And also logistic, and also the payment, right? Okay, with the transaction, without payment, okay, it cannot happen, right? And now we are in the, let's say, in the economy of, let's say, experience and data-driven, right? Okay, so in that case, we have to balance between, let's say, art and science, okay, in order to serve the customer, right? At the same time, we have to transform ourselves, okay, by using technology to create a new business, right? Okay, and then one of them that, okay, we partnership with, let's say, JD.com, okay, to create, let's say, e-commerce in Thailand, okay, and also use this, create the Thai platform, okay, to help Thai SME to bring the export product to China and beyond, okay. At the same time, okay, we are also looking for the technology and also investment into the EEC, okay. This is in line with the government, right? And then at the same time, we want to work with all the banking, okay, how to form a partnership in order to address this payment and financial solution, right? Okay.
I see. Well, you mentioned a lot about data-driven business, which is big right now and could enhance the retail business as well. Maybe I'll just ask you a bit, because I'm also, you know, a fan of the central department stores, and I have my central card, the one card. So I was wondering, how do you actually use those data? You know, well, first of all, do you only obtain information of your customers from the one card? And, you know, what do you do with those information? How does that help you enhance the customer experience or the business that, you know, you are planning for the future?
In terms of, let's say, customer data, I think there are two sides of the coin. In terms, we respect the customer, let's say, confidentiality, okay, on the customer data protection, that is clear, right? Second, okay, we really look into all the transaction, right? The way the customer actually using it, right? And then you can see, for example, right? We can see that, let's say, every month, our, let's say, central customer actually have a happiness, for example, about at least 15 or 20,000 customers having a baby, right? We can see the pattern change, right? For example, right? So we know that, okay, the pattern change, right? And then this is a thing that something happened into their event in life, right? For example, once we know that, okay, we have to find a way how to serve them better, right? As you know that, okay, when you get pregnant, okay, or become a new baby, your lifestyle change, right? So how do we serve them better? For example, that, okay, they normally come and shop offline, so how can we help you through the online, for example, right? So this type of thing that we want to do, right? And then, you know, the customer always, let's say in the past, only the top of the pyramid will get, let's say, special treatment. Nowadays, everyone wants same treatment, personalization, right? Become a segment of one, right? So with all this, I think we have to find a way how to serve them, right? So I mean, every customer coming in through online, offline, okay, they're going to see some more personalization, right? And then this is just developed for you, right? And then it's not just only the product itself. We have to bring in the solution, the service, okay? And you know that the customer always looking for smart consumption, smart pay, right? Okay, so our job is to be smart sourcing and smart logistics to serve them, right? To be more effective. Right?
I see. So that's how you actually use the consumer data to enhance their customer experience. But you just also mentioned a bit about this partnership that you now also have with the financial sector, right? Because you know, through this information, you know, it could also benefit the financial sector as well, because they can target loans to either your consumers or to your suppliers. Are you also, you know, working with banks to provide more credit to either your consumers or your suppliers?
I think in terms of, let's say, I think now a few key industry actually getting blurred between retail, between, let's say, banking, for example, right? So we are not here to disrupt the banking, right? Okay, we are actually working with with all the key players, okay, how to serve the customer better, right? In terms of to get the best deal for the customer, right? Okay, so this is very important. Second, how do they feel secure and trust? That okay, if with this transaction, I use this payment, I get the best deal of it. Second, I feel secure and trust, right? Third, okay, everything's so easy and convenient. Right? So that's why we have to build some sort of, let's say, ecosystem between all this across industry, right? And then in terms of the customer, in terms of the supplier, the same, right? They need some sort of supply chain financing. We should be able to help them too, right? Okay, we bring everyone to the platform, right? Okay, the Thai platform that we build is for everyone, right? To enjoy it, okay? And then if the more we can bring, okay, and then the more we can help them, I'm sure that, okay, the middle income trap that we have in Thailand, I think we can solve the problem, this one too.
I see. Thank you very much for sharing that. For now, maybe I'll go on to James. So what about for Lazada? I mean, are you also using a lot of these data to, how are you using it to enhance your retail experience with the customer and maybe with your suppliers as well?
Sure. I think, as I said, right, in the heart business philosophy of Alibaba Group / Lazada, data and technology is the core pillar of this. So now the entire Lazada platform is operating on Alibaba technology, which is purely based on data and personalization. So if any of the user who used Lazada before, if you compare your experience in the past few months with now, so a lot of your preference will be reflected in the product that you see on the screen, right? So based on your past browsing history, based on your preference, so on and so forth, we bring the product closer to you, right? So this is just one of the examples that how Lazada platform using data and technology to serve our consumer better. Data membership, we actually also work with retailers and brands in China. We have joint membership programs, right? So for the joint customers from both sides, we actually are able to put all the data together and come up with this more accurate and in-depth analytical, and then serve them even better. So that program is also on the way to Thailand. Yeah, as I said, starting from the app and then to the retailers, that's purely online, right? But then we also want to use the data in this offline business eventually, right? So online and offline, if the end-to-end experience can be on one cloud-based real-time technology system, imagine how powerful it would be in terms of reaching out, understand, offering to customers, and retargeting them, right?
So that's on the consumer side. What about on your supplier side? Are you also using this data to assist them in either, giving them feedback on the quality of their products or getting more credit for them now that, you have data on their receipts and, how they use their money? So, what's your...
Yeah, sure. So I think there are two types of merchants on our platform. One is big brand, whether it's international brand or local brand. It could be even luxury brands, right? So one brand. The other is SMEs, right? So we serve them in slightly different way, but the direction is all the same, which is we provide as much data as possible, especially their customers' data, right? And we do the analyticals with them and for them, so that they can serve their customer better, not only on our platform, but also offline, right? So taking big brands, for example, last 2-3 weeks, we've launched a super brand day for a few luxury brands. For example, MAC in cosmetics, Shiseido, Estée Lauder, right? So a lot of times, we do online, offline interaction. We do events all together, introduce some of the offline traffic to online, and then online traffic to offline, to the pop-up stores, to their stores. And then, with more customer interaction point, we can actually get more customer data and then come up with more accurate data insights. And then we can target these customers much better, and even retargeting after the event let's say, a few weeks from now, if we want to reconnect to those buyers, or even people who didn't buy, but they follow the store online, they came to our event, they use QR code, so on and so forth, we are able to help the retailer and the brands to target them even better, right? But then the second type of merchant, SMEs in Thailand, right? So this is actually what government discussed with us quite a lot, right? They thought that, okay, like in China, we serve about 10 million SMEs, help them to sell on our platform. In Thailand, there are also a huge number of SMEs who could well use our support and technology, and also this the sales channel for them to do business online, right? So in terms of sophistication level, they are not there compared to the brands and retailers, of course, right? But then we also provide a seller center to them, so that everything that they do, right? They set up a store, they upload their products, they reach out to customers, customer browse their store, browse their products, and then some of them converted to buyer, and then they repeat visit, become a follower. So everything along this line, we provide the data, the store-specific data, back to the SME, so that they can, better prepare, decorate their store, they can better select their products, and then serve their customer even better. The concept is very similar. It's just that, probably the level of data and the complication of analysis is not as much as brand and retailers, right?
I see. So the other question that I had from the first round I want to also ask you is that now that you're developing this market, for Lazada in Thailand, in collaboration with offline as well, and also helping SMEs in the provinces, are you also envisioning, using Thailand as a hub to expand your business into maybe the, CLMV, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, or other countries in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, I think two different levels to answer this question. The first is, if we look at a global level, right, Thailand is actually one of the most important countries for our group, where we want to build a showcase of how our technology can serve the consumers in this market together with our partners or retailers or brands, right? So for this, in this perspective, I think, yes, definitely, right, showcase to the rest of the countries. The second is actually Lazada and also the company Daraz that we recently acquired, which operates in Myanmar, for example, right, which is one of the countries that you just mentioned. Yes. So we have operation in 11 countries, which cover 1 billion population on one technology system, on one operating methodology, right? So some of these some of the countries you mentioned, neighboring countries, are already covered in this operation. And sure, we want to serve them in exactly the same way that we serve Thai consumers. And then in the countries where we don't have operation yet, of course, Thailand is going to be a very important hub for us. Because we also noticed that, in the past, probably a few decades ago, Thailand was one of the central hub where a lot of international companies, when they come to this region, they put their headquarters in Thailand, right? And then gradually, it was Hong Kong, Singapore, Shanghai. But we gradually see more company, setting up a regional headquarters in Bangkok, right? So the importance of Bangkok and Thailand in this region, we certainly see that is happening, right? So therefore, central Bangkok and Thailand is going to play a more important role in terms of serving neighboring countries and also consumers there.
Right. Just out of curiosity, I mean, at the moment, do you see more goods, coming into Thailand, like from your sales? Are there more imported goods, or are they goods from inside the country? And in the future, when you say Thailand's going to become a hub for the region, do you see more of Thai goods being sold abroad, or will it be the other way around?
And I think this is actually how Alibaba's philosophy, right? We always, our company vision starting from 19 years ago, which also Jack Ma keeps saying in different occasions, is make it easy to do business everywhere in the world, right? So we want to facilitate trade happening not only between countries, but among all the countries. Actually, taking Thailand and China, for example, because this is always the biggest question that I get asked very often. At least on our platform, we actually, the volume from Thailand to China and China to Thailand is actually pretty similar.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Giving some examples, when we work with some of the Thai retailers, maybe give some examples that you know very well, like Mistin is actually a very hot selling brand and products in Tmall importing business, right? And actually, there are also some other Thai brands selling, facial masks, right? The top selling SKU in Tmall, China, is actually a Thai brand. Oh. And then also, the previous panelist has been talking about organic and products, right? We sell, shrimps, durians to China, right? Container by container. So, yeah, as I said, right, it's two sides.
And in the future, you're also seeing this continuing, or?
No, in the future, I think it's going to be more like between Thailand and China, right? It's Thailand to the neighboring countries, and even to the countries very far away. As long as, we are working with governments on this EEC project. Hopefully, we can digitize a lot of it, right? And then our vision, global-wise, is that to make international trade and the shipment happens within 72 hours. From any point in one country to any point in the other side of the world.
Wow, impressive, impressive. So you don't only export durians, but also facial masks and many, many other things, as James has mentioned. So it's sort of like a bilateral trade between Thailand and China, and in the future, will be Thailand with the neighboring countries. So to you, Alex, so can you carry durians from Thailand to China? Would Kerry do that?
We have been doing, Kerry Group has been doing cross-border trading and transportation for nearly 50 years. Mm-hmm. So, of course,
well, you'll do that. And as they were mentioning that, there will be more, trade cross-border as well. I mean, so this is another, opportunity for Kerry as well to also, export or import. But you were mentioning to me that at the moment you're doing more imports rather than exporting from Thailand. Can you elaborate on that more, and how do you see the future?
The manner of transportation are pretty different for export comparing to import. If we're talking about e-commerce, exporting from Southeast Asia to China mainly are in bulk, selling by several bigger brands or bigger traders, bigger distributor from Southeast Asia to China. So James mentioned about containers and containers of fresh fruit. And do you know fresh fruit transportation has been in the countries in Southeast Asia with China for nearly 100 years. But only in the recent 10 years, things were formalized into a more systematic manner. Sellers are bigger brands, buyers are bigger trading company, transportation company are more formulated or systematic. On the other way around, from China to Southeast Asia, namely to Thailand, this kind of transportation has been active for 50, 60 years. But in recent years, if we talk about e-commerce, the packages are much smaller, are much more diversified, and in so many different means. If you have been to Platinum or Pratunam or these areas, most of the products being sold there are sold out from Guangzhou, shipping into Thailand by containers. So it has been there for 20, 30 years. However, what James and his company has established, also with JD and other e-commerce, are cross-border e-commerce packages, which our country, Thailand, relaxed the customs clearance regulations for certain types of products. And only starting from 2015, it has been growing pretty fast. And today, Suvarnabhumi Airport is very busy clearing all these parcels into Thailand for individual buyers and from individual sellers in China.
I see. Good. So maybe you can say a bit more before we open up for questions from the audience. So for Kerry, in going forward in the future, I mean, how do you see your business? What are your plans? Are you thinking to form more partnerships, or will there be more use of certain technologies? How are you going to position yourself?
Okay. Today, our position is very simple. We aim, and we are, the country's best delivery company. Okay. And we will make ourselves much bigger than today, because Thailand, the market at this moment, is still very infant, is still very early. 1 million parcel a day is smaller than the profit in China. So we still have a long way to go. But at the same time, apart from serving the customers better and easier, we are also adding in a lot of new elements. Like I said, payment, we talk about value-added services, and online to offline will be very important. And only if we are willing to think or imagine what's happening next and try, things will happen. We told ourselves to set up drop-off booth in our retail outlets 2 years ago, starting 2016. And today, our retail stores are the hottest drop-off channels for Lazada, JD, and other e-commerce products. So sellers selling in Thailand, they don't need to wait for someone to pick up from them. They just go to a Kerry shop and drop it off. These are very simple tricks. These are very simple gimmicks, but it just works. If we didn't try, it won't work. So
yes, I know, because at the big C near my house, there's also a Kerry drop-off point. So that's how I know that you have drop-off points, very conveniently located.
Right. And apart from that, the portfolio of our business will change dramatically. 5 years ago, in 2013, 99% of our business came from B2B customers, like all this telecom company coming from international couriers like FedEx, DHL. They use Kerry services to do delivery and pick up. But today, B2B business account for less than 5% of our total portfolio. Oh. And since 2013, Lazada coming into the market, in a certain month, Lazada account for 70% of our income. Back in 2013.
This is your big customer sitting right here.
Yes, until now, very, very honorable customers, very good partners. But today, 80% of our business are from general public. People coming to our retail store, people calling us, tapping our apps, booking for our services. And this is a good thing for our corporate partners. Sure. Because in the peak season, our service won't be disturbed. Yes. By the peak season, low season. Because now, Lazada, JD, they don't only have 11, and 12, they have 10, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7. So every single month. So we are a very lovely partner to them, I suppose, because we have a lot more volume from the general public to balance and to stabilize our service. So in the future, we will be more diversified, and we will have more service type in the country.
Just so you know, I'm also a customer of Kerry, so general public. Well, now we have 13 minutes left, according to the clock in front of me. I'd like to open the floor. Anybody wants to ask or give any comments to the panel or share some of your ideas, you're very welcome. I think there are microphones around. If you just raise your hand or stand up, one of the staff will bring a microphone to you. Anybody would like to share anything? Or ask any questions? Not yet? Not yet. So maybe, well, I'll let you think a bit more. Oh, yes, there's a question there, please.
Hello, thank you very much. It's a very interesting session. I'd like to ask, Alex, when you mentioned about your partnership with BTS, do you mind explaining on your future collaborations or synergies with BTS and help us understand your goals and your strategy a little bit more? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. And indeed, the panel discussed about data with James and Piyon. Indeed, for Kerry, we do not and we will not use individual data for commercial purpose, but we will use aggregate data and the pattern of them to derive these policies or make decisions on the demand side and the supply side. On the commercial side, we will leave it to VGI, the subsidiary of BTS, to derive from our delivery pattern, marketing plans, and commercial decisions, commercial plans. And at the same time with BTS also has quite a lot of companies. We are also collaborating with BTS, in particular in the metropolitan, to extend our service, extend our innovative services into Bangkok City. So Bangkok people deserve much more advanced and better delivery services. And a lot of things are going on. In two months of time, you will see Kerry shops going onto BTS stations, and you will see our courier, our very handsome couriers, going onto BTS stations and do deliveries for the metropolitan people over here. A lot are going on, but in terms of data, there are a lot of new projects coming on board also. Thank you.
So in 2 months, we'll be able to pick off and drop off things at the BTS stations.
Yes, the first shop will be next to James' office.
Where is that?
Emporium.
Emporium, the Prampong station.
Prampong station.
I see, Prampong station.
And 2 more questions for James, please. One is that as a consumer, and I have direct experience using Lazada myself. So my first question is that, how did you make money from our traffic? I mean, as a consumer, I feel like, like I get better deals. So that would actually be quite interesting to learn from you. And secondly, what are your key challenges being in Thailand? So those are the two. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, for your first question, it's a very interesting question. I discussed with Pion just before coming to the stage, right? So for Alibaba Group, actually, we always been profitable for many years in the past, right? So the last quarterly results, if you can see, we again beat the analysts' expectation on profitability, revenue, so on and so forth. At our scale, we still are able to grow more than 60% on revenue and profit year on year, right? So Lazada in Thailand, as it is at a very beginning stage, right? And then also the competition environment is also very different. So the scale, Alex also mentioned about scale. In a lot of business, actually scale matters a lot, right? So now the way that we're doing business is we see a path to profitability, and then the approach of getting the profitability would be very similar as what we did in China, right? So hopefully by implementing this new retail strategy ecosystem play in Thailand, helping the governments and the brand and retailer SMEs to digitalize their operation, we can eventually benefit from it, right? So we clearly see a path. So this is question number one. Sorry, what's the second question?
The second question is what are the challenges of operating in Thailand?
Right. I think, to be honest, I don't really see huge challenges, right? In the past, there were a lot of challenges on infrastructure, for example, payments, but now you have more than enough online payments methods. And then in the past, or if you look at the neighboring countries, right, logistics was and is and potentially is still going to be a challenge for the years to come. But then if you look at Thailand with, strong commitments from players like Kerry and also Lazada itself, right? So ourselves, we also build our own warehouse. We have our own fleet, right? In order to assure that we have the best service. And then we also work with the best service providers, for example, Kerry. So these things has continuously improved in the past, right? So I would say the darkest moment has already passed. And then the consumers are super ready. There's one data that I encourage you guys to look at and keep monitoring, which is very interesting. I think this time last year, the percentage of online population, I think it's around 15% of them, they are online shopper. But this time, nowadays, this year, right, only 12 months after, that percentage increased by 10, right? It's 25%, more or less. So, if you are at a fast ramp-up phase like this, everything is possible in the foreseeable future.
And my last question for Kun Yon, I cannot just leave Kun Yon, right? So, since Central has been an anchor target or destination for Thai consumers since we were born, what is the greatest opportunity for you to leverage on that particular strong presence in Thailand in this changing and disruptive world?
Thank you for the good question. I think, as I mentioned that, wherever we go, okay, say in province Chiang Mai or Phuket or even Phayao, right? We want to create the central economy, right? So it means that every business has to go in, okay, and then to create the center of the town, right? And then we can see that, okay, as I mentioned that, okay, the human experience, the core thing is still about this socialize, right? So if we can transform, and we'll also keep transforming our physical platform, right? The largest physical platform that we have in Thailand, okay, to be the destination, either food destination, entertainment, education, right? And then shopping and so on, right? This is the key, fundamental thing that we must continue to do so. And the way we do it, okay, we have to keep transforming it, right? And then when we look at the technology changing, will be this online merge into offline, become the channel-less, okay? I think that Central has a very high potential to really bring the new experience, diversification of the experience to the Thai consumer, right?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for all the questions. Anybody else? Anybody would like to ask? We have 4.58 more minutes. So, any other questions? No, yes, there's a question there.
Hi, I'm Kampun from Kasikorn Securities. Just like to ask the speakers, with some logistic and payment facility in place, what would you like to see to speed up the online retail business in Thailand?
What else would you like to see? Anybody would like to start?
If you look at the logistics, I think you look at the logistics in totality. I think in terms of the last mile, right? Okay, the short distance, I see there will be a lot of improvement. Okay, but if you look at the long distance traveling, the logistics, I think for Thailand it's quite complicated, right? Okay, this is the thing that we put this way, we have not addressed it yet, but with the current government, try to build the new transportation option, okay, new road, new railway station or whatever. Right? I think it's very good that we really tackle about this long haul logistics. Without effective and efficient long haul logistics, it will be very difficult. Right? You can see the trucks, leaving Bangkok, leaving other provinces, go to, let's say, Central Group destination. It's every day, right? But it's not efficient because the current infrastructure. Right? So this is one. Second one, I can see that, in terms of the payment, will be totally disrupted. Right? The payment itself is not like as simple as what we have been get used to it. Okay, I'm sure that the big disruption coming into the payment. Right? Okay, and then this will go to help us to create much more seamless experience to the consumer. Right? So now you can see, look like Kerry at the moment, he become like a bank on itself, right? Collecting the money, counting the money. I just thinking like, when I used to be in the bank, the high counter, right? Counting the money, and then put the money into the account. Then this is the job of Kerry now, right? So this is become a cash issue, right? And also create some sort of problem and also safety and security too, right? So that's why I said the whole payment system with the government, go out, the QR code, the Bank of Thailand and PromptPay, I think they are moving in the right direction. Just waiting for, let's say, the trigger to change the whole industry. When that trigger comes, I'm sure that all infrastructure are ready, right?
And here infrastructure could mean the physical infrastructure or regulatory infrastructure as well. So I think Alex is dying to say something. Please go ahead.
I think Piyon has given a very, very insightful angle in answering this question. Indeed, I think the last mile delivery infrastructure is perfect in Thailand. Today we are talking about next day delivery to anywhere in Thailand, be it the most remote island. But I think the biggest problem in online retail, I think James and Alibaba is tackling this problem. If you buy an iPhone, you want to buy a case for your iPhone. If you are in China, when you browse on Alibaba, Tmall, Taobao, you have 2 million choices for your iPhone 10, for an iPhone 10 case. But if you go to local website in Thailand or even go to shopping malls, perhaps you have 500 to 1,000 choices. So indeed, both gentlemen and I think their companies are so desperate to open up Thailand to retailers or online merchants in China, so Thai people enjoy more choices. However, today we have a very limited categories of product being permitted to come into Thailand in parcel manner, but this can only open up. So in the coming 5 to 10 years, I think it will become more liberal, and Thai people will enjoy much better variety of product being sold online or offline.
So there's a regulation issue now.
Logistics itself is not a problem. Even from China to here today, we're helping Lazada. We're talking about less than 48 hours end-to-end fulfillment. Thank you.
James?
Yeah, I think, logistics and payment, the infrastructure, of course, there are things yet to be done, right? We can always do better, but what do we already have in this country compared to the other countries who are also developing their digital industry, going through digital transformation in a lot of sectors? Actually, Thailand is already much better. So I'm confident that in the months and the years to come, it will be there, right? So we already started thinking, what's next, right? So at the end, it still comes back to the consumer experience that I talked about in the very beginning, right? So what do consumer want? If they're so digital, what is the total experience that we can provide? But as an online platform, where Lazada started a few years ago, and even till now, we are like still 80% like online offerings, right? But then how do we work with different brands and the retailers to provide this online, offline total solution to consumers, right? This not only depends on our technology, but also depends on, how open the retailers and the brands would like to work with us, and then come up with this hybrid total online, offline solution to our consumers, right? So this is something we will continuously working on. We already see very good early signs. For example, the 3 luxury brands that I just mentioned about, we have this online, offline events, and then one of them, the sales uplift in 1 day is 800 times compared their daily sales, right? It's not only good sales for the brand, but actually for consumer, it's like a carnival, right? Because they reach out to they were reached by the KOLs, not only offline, but also online, try the products, and then, get the products when they're in office. So it's, this is the probably most important thing that I'm thinking.
I see. Well, with that, I'd like to thank the 3 gentlemen so much for this very insightful and rich session. Our time is up. I would like all of you to join me in giving a big hand to all the 3 of them. Thank you so much. Thank you all.